There's a documentary on BBC One tonight exploring the rivalry between two in the industry. Pound Shop Wars looks at the competition between 99p stores based mainly in the south, and also the Yorkshire-based chain Poundworld, headed by entrepreneur Chris Edwards, which boasts 130 shops, mostly in the north of England. But tonight's documentary follows the two ever-expanding family-run businesses in their race to dominate the high street. Well, the founder and the managing director of Poundworld is Chris Edwards, and he's joining us on the programme today. Chris, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Very good to talk to you. How did you start? You start with a market stall?
Yeah, we opened, well, I left primary school. When I was at primary school, I should say, I used to help my mum and dad on the market on the time off and on the weekends. And then when I left school, 15 at that point, I started full-time on the market, and then started full-time working for myself on the market when I was about 19.
So you've gone from market stall to MD of Poundworld?
That's correct, yeah. It's been a long, hard road, I can promise you.
Has it?
Yes.
What's the hardest bit been?
The hardest bit, I think, getting credibility in the first place. When you start to want to open your first store, I mean, the landlords, for instance, you need to be a good covenant. And when they say, what's your background, you say, well, I work on the market. They usually have the door slammed in your face. But eventually you keep pecking away, you find the first opportunity. In our case, it was a town centre shop rented from the local authority in Wakefield.
So you went from market stall in Wakefield, basically?
To a shop in Wakefield, yeah.
Well, it's an amazing success story, isn't it? I mean, why? I mean, is it literally just because we've had the recession that the pound shops are doing so very well at the moment?
I think that certainly helps. I don't think it's the only reason. I think, people out there are looking for bargains. All the time I've been in retail since I was on the market. I mean, people are looking for bargains. So I think the recession has helped, but it's not the only reason, I don't think.
What is the other? What's the other reason, do you think?
Well, it's as we've progressed. I mean, we have an office in Hong Kong and we have an office in Shanghai now, which is a major improvement for us. It gives us a better source of the Far East products. And we're importing better and better items for the same price always. I'll just give you, for instance, in 1960-something, say, we were selling umbrellas for a pound then, and all these years later we're selling the same umbrella for the same price.
Yes, but there will be many people will be saying, yeah, and the people who are making it are not being paid properly. And I mean, that's an argument, obviously, for another day. But presumably you have some understanding and sympathy of that, do you?
Of course, yeah. We do visit most of the factories we do business with. Funnily enough, on the programme tonight, they did film one of the factories we do business with, which is a very organised, very pleasant factory, to say the least. Unfortunately, for some time restriction on the hour programme, I don't think they've actually put it on. But, yeah, we don't knowingly buy from young kids making umbrellas, for instance. We wouldn't knowingly do that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen without our knowledge, but most of the factories we deal with, our representatives over in the Far East do visit these places.
If you can sell something for £1 and you can still make a profit, on a lot of these items, people don't actually get how you can do it so cheaply. Let me into the secret behind it.
There's two categories of our product range. There's the import, and then there's the what we call the brands, because obviously we deal with Coca-Cola, Sweats, Cadbury's, Tetley's, Tetley tea bags, all that kind of stuff. And what we balance is what we can buy from the Far East. It makes up for the margin that we lose with the UK supply. So if we try and find an average cost price of X in the Far East, which then, because some of the products we sell for what we get supply from the UK, probably we pay anything from 60, 70, even 80, 85p sometimes. But it just delivers value, because don't forget, we've got to beat the supermarkets as well as 99p stores, etc.
So if I said to you, you can buy no more items from the Far East for the pound shop, then you would go under?
I think we would struggle, to say the least. We wouldn't be able to get the same value.
So the cheap things which are imported from the Far East mean that you can afford to sell items like your tea bags at a cheaper price?
Pretty much it, yeah. But just to stress, everything we do import is all quality controlled.
Yeah.
And, we sell, to say we sell so much and the pure public is no fools. They don't buy rubbish. Everything we do is tried and tested, and and passed by the authorities in the UK.
What's your best-selling item that you import?
We've got lots, but I mean, AAA batteries, for instance, comes into it. We sell probably a 20-foot container every 3 to 4 weeks, I would have thought.
Good grief. Because batteries are so expensive normally.
Right, yeah, and we do I think it's still a 6-pack for £1.
Right. And now I mean, in the days when you were running your market stall, you would have been across everything, but now, at your elevated position as managing director, you can't possibly know all the products you've got in the shop, so you've got to have somebody to choose which things you think your customers will want.
Yes. Yeah, well, we do many things. I mean, my son heads the sales team, the buying team, and he's been in the business since he's 30 years old now, so he's been in the business since he's been 16. So we're very much in control. We do a lot of sample buying from chain stores, etc., and we find we can replicate the stuff that's sometimes in your curries or the demised Comet, different electrical items where they'll be retailing at £4, £5, even £9.99 in some cases, and we can replicate and sell for £1.
Is it cutthroat? I mean, this programme is called Pound Shop Wars tonight, isn't it? Is there a lot of competition between you?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, it's pleasant competition, I think. We meet occasionally at trade shows and we pass the time of day. I don't think we give anything away. I think we're both as aggressive as each other, but the bottom line is the customers win.
The customers win?
Yeah, because you're always trying to deliver better value than your competitor.
It's bonkers, isn't it, that an umbrella in the 60s was £1 and in 2012 it's £1?
Yeah, it is. And there's lots of items still like that. You know, it's unbelievable. If somebody said to me in 1960-something that you're going to be selling umbrellas for £1, now, 2012, I would have said impossible. But bear in mind, when I was buying the umbrellas the first time round, I was probably buying them from a UK importer rather than buying them from the Chinese guy who makes it.
And you've got 130 shops now.
Well, we've got more now.
Have you?
Actual Poundworlds, yeah, we're actually on about 160.
160?
Yep.
Do you want more?
Yes, we're going to carry on open. We've got an open in Formula that works, and we've got the stuff in, all the merchandise, etc., in place. So we think we can do about 5 a month.
You open 5 a month?
Yeah, during the course of this year, we had several months where we were doing 5 a month. Yeah, and that's a full shop fit out. Bear in mind, it's not just throwing stock in a shop. I mean, everything's organised. It's a well-organised shop fit.
Are they here to stay, the pound shops, do you think? Or is it just a passing fad because we're in recession and suddenly they've become quite fashionable and trendy for some of us? I mean, I probably wouldn't have gone in a pound shop 5-10 years ago, but go in now and shop.
I think that's...
What's changed?
Well, I think since we opened our first pound shop probably about 12-13 years ago, and I got asked the question, don't you think in a short-term business? 13 years later, we're still here, and in my eyes, we're delivering even better value than what we was then. So I'd like to think this situation can go on indefinite.
Did you know when you were working on a market stall in Wakefield that I can do better than this?
Yes, that was always my dream, to have when you're working behind a market stall, I thought at least the best I can do is have a shop. You know,
but one shop wasn't enough, so I thought, oh, well, I'll have 160 of them.
Yeah, that's right. You know, and you just think, well, when did you pre-plan it? I don't think we ever pre-planned to get into this situation. I think it's just happened through opportunity and most of all, obviously, hard work.
It's an amazing story, isn't it?
Yeah, people keep telling us that, but we don't see it. We're too busy looking at the next opening.
Or too busy counting your money.
Well, counting the money that we put in the bank that somebody else spends. You know, somebody said to me, that in 2012 you're going to be employing 4,500 staff and more. And I said, not in 1,000 years, I don't want to go there, but I found myself in this place. So what comes with the job is a lot of responsibility and a lot of people's living. For
4,500 people's salaries?
Yes.
What did you make of the suggestions the day before yesterday about this living wage? Because that's something which is going to affect many employers, isn't it?
Of course. I mean, we haven't looked into it in any depth, but obviously if it comes into legislation, we've got to do it. We've got to conform like everybody else.
Well, they're saying it's not legislation; it's a suggestion as well, isn't it?
I think we look at everything that's what comes our way and try and deal with it accordingly.
Yeah.
And we don't look for extra expense, obviously, because at the end of the day we do try and make a profit.
Well, that was the reason for the question, obviously.
Yeah. Well, a business can only pay what it can afford. So I reckon if it become normal and everybody was out there doing it and we could afford it, I'm no doubt we would do it.
So the answer to my question about whether they're here to stay is probably yes.
Yes, I would say yes at this moment, unless anything drastic happens. I'd say we've just gone through 13 years of non-stop growth, and I'm hoping we can do another 13 years.
13 years of non-stop growth, and yet, you know, we in this city alone have seen a lot of job losses just these last few weeks. You mentioned Comet there as well. Why is it on one hand it's going so wrong, and on another hand it's going so right?
Well, I suppose it's how different businesses operate the business, what margins they're supposed to work on, because I would have thought Comet should be looking very closely, i.e. probably at Curry's comes to mind. Curry's don't seem to be going bust, so they must be doing something far better. So I think you've got to keep an eye on your competitors, you've got to force the issue, you've got to keep your costs down, and obviously Comet probably hasn't done it as efficient as they should have done. And
you're more in the north than the south?
Well, that was probably where the programme was coming from, but since, because during the course of the summer, we took 28 Peacock stores, by the way, and most of them were based in the London area, so we now go as high as Inverness in Scotland, and we're in and around Glasgow in different places, and we're down in the London suburbs. So the extra shops we've opened since the programme.
You didn't. Just going back to my previous point about the image of the people.
Yeah.
That's changed, and why some people will be seen in there now, but not before. What's changed there?
From our point of view, we've certainly upgraded in the last 2 or 3 years. We've upgraded our shop fit standard.
Yeah, but people like me, I don't care about your shop fit. You know, it's whether you will be seen in a place or you won't be seen in a place. So what has changed to mean that some of us will go in there now and be happy be seen in there in these types of shops, but wouldn't 5 years ago?
Yeah, well, I think I liken this to buying clothes. Like where Primark's come into it. Once everybody used to say, you never guess how much this shirt was. I paid an Armani shirt, I paid £99 for it or something. Now you get, for whatever reason, people like to say, you'll never believe this, I paid £1.99 for this shirt. I got it from Primark. People see now more the bragging rights, if you like, is how cheap have I bought it.
So the bragging...
How dear I've bought it.
That's very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we've come across, and I just think the economy has helped, like I said, and I also think all of a sudden the pound business, if you like, the single price as we call it, has got very, very vogue in the high street. Everybody's heard about them, everybody wants to come and have a look and see what all the fuss is about. And that fuss, by the way, isn't just now when there's been press. We've found it just when we open a new store, by the way, in any selected town. We don't do much advertising apart from one meagre half-page advert, and even if we don't do the advert, we still have a queue outside.
So the economy has helped, with your words. So the pickle that the country has been in has played into your court.
It's helped. I wouldn't say we wouldn't still be in this position. I'm not saying we would have as many stores as we've got. I'm sure the economy has helped. And obviously we satisfied a need. People's got less money in the pocket in certain quarters, and obviously they can buy and have more spend in a basket, you know, by coming into our store.
You're going to come across well in this programme. You are good in the interview situation, aren't you?
I don't know. I've not had much practice, but I just try my best with everything.
Well, somebody can go from running a market stall in Wakefield to have 160 jobs.
Yeah, well, I suppose some credit somewhere, but you know, I hate to sound like I'm saying, "Oh, I'm just here," because tomorrow even when I put this one down, I'll be just facing a multitude of problems I need to be getting on with. So you don't really have time to think whether you're good or bad. You just want to succeed.
And how different does it feel to suddenly realise that you don't have to worry about money?
Well, your money on a different way. Yes, I get paid every week. I'm not saying it isn't. Some might say it's substantial. Some might say it's not so substantial. My biggest worry is to make sure I've got enough money to pay 4,500 people. So that always comes with that's actually a bigger worry than wondering in the market days where I'm going to pay my own wage.
Do you lose sleep over that?
Uh, yes and no. I have periods where I keep thinking, Christ, there's a lot of money to pay out this week, but it's all relevant.
It's amazing you ever get to sleep, I would have thought.
I suppose in the early days of this Poundworld scenario, I probably didn't do much sleeping, but I've learned to live with it. As we're getting more and more control, you get better and better people working with you and take their share of responsibilities. So, in actual fact, the bigger you get, if you do economy of scale correctly, my job actually gets a little bit easier, because going back in the beginning.
How do you know when to stop and say, right, there's enough now, I've got to go backwards, rather than keep going?
With regard to opening stores?
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet. We haven't asked ourselves that question. I thought, we think wherever there's opportunities in a shop and the landlords approach us, by the way, we don't have to go searching, and landlords constantly send us information on stores, offering us deals to go into a store. So wherever that keeps happening, I can imagine we're going to carry on opening the stores.
Been a great pleasure having you on the programme. Really, really interesting. Your story is unbelievable, but I expect everybody tells you that.
Well, thank you for that. Not everybody. We don't really get too much time to talk to people, to be honest with you, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you as well.
Well, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. I've been talking to you for a long time. This has probably cost you, hasn't it? You could have opened another shop while you've been having a conversation with me, and you've been on the phone to me.
Don't worry, I won't hold it against you.
Very good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed, Chris.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Amazing man, Chris Edwards. Started with a market stall in Wakefield. He now owns 160 shops. Poundworld called, of course, and he is one of two people that features in a BBC One documentary tonight. It's called Pound Shop Wars, and it is at 8 o'clock. Fascinating stuff.